All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your Jersey boy, Omar Retamar, and I'm super pumped to start one of the most amazing, epic nights tonight. Welcome to another one of your favorite mini podcast talk shows. Yes, raw, uncut, uncensored, unfiltered, controversial, but very, very educational. And your neighbor needs, everybody needs this information on the red hot topics. And joining me here tonight, nonetheless, that one of the most amazing human beings on the planet right now, bringing you her knowledge, her wisdom, her heart, pouring it out. And although this might not be sharing all social media because they might not like it, we're bringing you the real deal. Like we're not trying to put no whipped cream on top and cherry and trying to sugarcoat it. We're going to bring you as it is, but educative and very, very informative as well. So tonight we're going to be talking about a very alarming topic that's actually taken, as we were before we started the recording, it's taken not just America, the whole world. It's a global epidemic right now happening at an alarming scale. And it's the obesity, increasing obesity. It's food chaos. But we're going to dive in a little deeper because this is a problem that's affecting minors, from kids and even toddlers to older adults down the road. And we want to find a way where I will take the words from my friend Mr. J. Michael Smith, who said, how can we turn this ship around? So joining me here tonight is nonetheless, and by the way, this is one of the causes of her inspiring the next bestseller book, and we're going to talk about that real briefly. All right, so joining me here tonight, bestseller author of 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Celebrity Detox Diet Doctor, co-founder of Martha's Vineyard Retreat, nonetheless, the Rockstar, the myth, the legend, Mrs. Dr. Roni DeLuz. What's going on?
Hi, everybody.
Got fired.
Here I am. This is a great topic for me. It's been a topic for me for 30 years. And I've been talking about this. When I wrote that book 12 years ago, whatever, how many years ago it was, probably longer, I didn't want to talk about that. But now the situation, and it became a New York Times bestseller because, I said I had a solution, 21 pounds in 21 days. It just sounded nice. It had a ring to it, right? But my heart and my soul and everything when I wrote that book wasn't really all into it because I was a chronic illness doc. I dealt with cancer and Lyme disease and heart disease and lung disease and liver disease. And that was my love, right? But when this publisher said to me, I guarantee you, she says, we are having a problem in this country. She said this like years and years ago. If you can help people with this problem, people will get to know about you all over the country, out of the country, and they're always going to count on you for this particular problem, which is weight loss. Back then, I called it weight loss. Today, we call it obesity. We have a problem. It's over almost half the population. When I say that, I want people to go, holy Moses, half the population. Well, yeah, I don't need to say that. Just go to the mall and see. Just go to a place where there's a lot of people and you see it, right? And we're just like melting in with it and we're not becoming alarmed. And a lot of people believe that, some of the reasons that I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you some real serious reasons why we have this problem. And you may not like what I'm going to say, but, I've been in the health and wellness field for over 35 years. So now I've earned the right to say these things, right?
Absolutely.
30 years ago.
And now your book is more relevant. Because you said this was 12 years ago. You wrote the 21 Pounds for 21 Days. That was 12 years ago. Now it becomes even more relevant because people nowadays gain 21 pounds in 21 days, just like that, just because especially the food industry doing a disservice and everything else out there, adding to it. We'll get there later. So, yeah. But more than that is the alarming way that is going, especially after 2020. For some reason, more people got sedentary, and it just started going crazy. But we'll get to it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we got these periods of time where it just explodes. And I'll tell you why that happened. So this is what we believe, and this is what the medical doctors will tell us, and this is what the nutritionists will tell us, and this is what the scientists will tell us, and it's all crap. But it has some relevance to it, but it's not the whole reason why we have obesity. So here it is. They'll tell us ultra-processed food. Well, I know that. It's not the whole reason. What's ultra-processed food? It's a lot of sugar, a lot of salt, a lot of fat, a lot of toxins. But we've had ultra processed food for years. Okay. So that is a reason. And then they'll say, oh, it's a lack of nutrients. Okay, we know that. But what's going on now? Okay. We know that we are in a world where there's fast food restaurants everywhere. Okay. We know that. So we keep saying decreasing the decrease of activity. Everybody's on their computer, everybody's on their phone. So lack of activity. We know that. And then they'll say, well, this other thing they say, we are now in a process of they keep telling us to eat less, exercise more. Well, that's not working. Okay. So what's going on that's not working? And why you keep saying that? It's not working. If it was working, then we wouldn't see this big, huge problem, right? Because I can tell you a whole lot of my friends, I can tell you hundreds of people that I know just personally eat less and exercise more. And then I look at them and I go, it's not making a big difference. Then they throw at us drugs. Ozempic, I can name a whole bunch of them, but I like to pick on them. Ozempic, okay? I'm sorry. So a lot of my friends take it. And I just saw a friend yesterday, and I'm looking at her just yesterday. Hope she's not on. But I looked at her yesterday, and I go, well, all that weight you lost, come on, it was just 6 months ago. You gained it all back, plus more. Why? And then she started going on about why, but I know why, okay? So we got these fat burners, we've got all kinds of diets and all types of drugs and all of it, even surgery, it's not working. It's not working. So you got to say to yourself, what's going on? You know, they're throwing bad shit in our face all the time. Excuse my language, but that's what they're doing all day, every day. You can't go anywhere in this country where you see bad stuff. Bad food, bad water, bad air, bad stress. It's everywhere. And that's why I call it food chaos, right? Because you're in the world and you'll talk to this guy on the YouTube, and he's not wrong. He'll say, eat this, not that. Then he'll have his friend that comes on next week and he'll say, oh, no, but you want to eat this, not that. And they're all out there. I listen to them all. They're all nuts, right? And they're all right. They're all nuts and they're all right. But what they're saying doesn't work, because you can't just eat this, not that. If that works, well, it's not good for everyone. If that worked, why is everybody still obese? You can't follow that strict diet. No one's going to just eat all the time vegetables. No one's going to eat all the time the carnivore. No one's going to eat all the time the fruitarians, right? So what happens is the moment they stop, they increase their weight again. And all of these things, what happens, and this is the real truth of what's happening, it creates the high fives that I always talk about, the high fives, right? Don't you know that lack of nutrients creates high fat? The inflammation that this obesity is causing, anybody, they all have inflammation, because I do blood work. I know that. I see high CRPs, high everything, right? And even that, I see low hematocrit, low hemoglobin, low vitamin D, all these lows, right? And you're looking at them, and other countries will go, well, geez, they're really obese. They must be eating really good. But I tell people all the time, eating is not the same as nutrition. It's just not the same. Food, the body never said, I want food. It says, I want and need nutrition. And ultra processed is not food. A lot of it is just poison. But all day long, it's shameful that we give these to our kids. It's shameful that the schools don't change. It's shameful that they have soda machines and juice machines and potato chips and pretzels in some of these schools in the food desert. It's shameful. You know, the other thing that really upsets me when I see blood work, because I know that these three triggers create obesity, and it's a long-term effect. It's not like all of a sudden you wake up one day and you have high triglycerides, high chronic inflammation, high blood sluggish, fibrinogen, we call it, trying to keep it simple, but sometimes it's hard to keep it simple. And low levels of nitric oxide, all of these things, And I remember giving a class about maybe a year ago, and I was telling them, the class was about over 1,000 toxins. Now this is over a year ago, maybe, but I've been saying over 1,000 for years. I remember I said it on The View, and people went, oh, whoa. And come on, guys, we got to get real here. 1,000 toxins are dumped into our food supply, but yet we keep asking, our doctors. Well, how come I can't lose weight? I eat less and exercise more. Instead of saying, Doc, try to help me to figure out how to eat cleaner with more nutrition. The younger doctors are starting to learn this now. Don't ask your doctor that's 50 and over. It's over with them. They don't get it. They're never going to get it. It's too late. All right. But you can imagine what's happening with this whole food chaos thing, right? It's creating an unbalanced blood sugar. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you about the dangers later, but it's creating this unbalanced blood sugar and it's creating the sluggish bloodstream because of the high glycerides. And you have high blood pressure, and then you say, wow, I'm going to go on a diet, right? This is what you do. Clean up, go on a diet, lose weight. And then 3 months later, which I hate to say, I wish I could say a year later, but no, it's 3 months later. The average is 3 months later. They gain it all back, plus more, right? And people say, well, why every time I go on a diet and I gain my weight back, I get bigger and bigger and bigger? Because the body's freaking smart. It's not going to let you starve it. And so what it does is, like, when you do, it stores the fat, because it's like, hey, we got to protect this person. They're starving.
That happens a lot in all these caloric deficient diets, because I know there's a lot of stuff out there, and people might think, well, let me just go on a caloric restriction. Well, actually, your body goes into starvation mode, and when they say I have to protect, I have to, I can't get rid of this. Let me just keep these calories. What happens? Your body reads these calories, but whatever they are, sugars, proteins, and they say, okay, I've used enough of you. Now let me take whatever's left and store it as fat, and that's what visceral fat comes and all this stuff. And God knows what else.
That's exactly what happens. And then they do it again, and then again, and then again. And so you got to say to yourself at some point, is this hurting my body? Doc, I've been on 6, 7 diets this year. And look at me, I'm still fat. In fact, I'm obese now. And you got all these doctors out there, and you think they would just go into the science of why this is happening. But yet they've been trained, but let's try this pill. This is amphetamine, and this is, I know it's a speed, and let's just see how this works. And then if this doesn't work, then we've got this other thing over here. And then you got the smart people out there. They're like, they don't go and get the amphetamine from the medical doctor. They just go out and get these fat burners with a whole lot of healthy things in it, but it's still doing the same thing. It's raising your metabolism, right? And then you think it's like magic. I love these people that come to the retreat and they go, Doc, okay, so I look great, I feel great, I lost this weight, 21 pounds and everything. Great, I feel good. Am I going to gain it all back when I go home? I go, yep. If you go back, I mean, for me, it's just common sense for us to tell the truth, right? These doctors, they got to start telling the truth. Of course, the same reason why you got it is the same reason why you're going to get it back. And more.
Something that you mentioned, I know because you were talking about some drugs a little while ago, a few minutes, and I know you mentioned Ozempic because it's like trending, it's everywhere. But a few weeks ago, we were talking about, you had mentioned metformin. I know people who have tried to get prescribed metformin, not because they're diabetic, because they want to lose weight, because it has an extra, they say, oh my God, you got a metformin, you're going to lose weight. It's not designed for you in the first place. Second thing is, they're not telling you all the extras. We're going to talk about that on another topic, but there's some creepy stuff happening with that.
It's another pill. We live in a pill world. And, you can look at the side effects. Look at the side effects of metformin. I lost a cousin with it. And she just died of kidney failure. It's right out there. It tells you all the side effects. And I don't understand why people can look at side effects and say, well, that's not going to happen to me. Well, how do you know? Why are you chancing it? How do you know what's not going to happen to you? I mean, I could say, well, okay, maybe if you take blood work every month, go get blood work every month. I don't think that's realistic, but if you do that, then it may not happen to you. So it doesn't happen to everyone, but it's just like you're playing Russian roulette with your family, with your life, with your health, right? And so I tell people all the time, and I really miss my cousin, but there's some other things that happened besides the kidney failure, but it was really the drugs that she was on that really sent her on the other side. It was the drugs, but the metformin was at the top of it. So yeah, so to get back to the
I know
But
you were mentioning about the diets, right? And I'm curious because I know there's a famous term out there with yo-yo dieting, and people think it's cool, and it's like, oh well, I just go and do this diet, drop off some pounds, but then they fall into that. And
yeah,
I want to do a little parenthesis here because there's a movie out there that supposedly for kids, but it's really directly for adults. They're so smart in marketing that they market for the kids, knowing that they don't have the money to go pay it, but the mom and the parents are going to go watch it. It's called Inside Out 2. And in this movie, character, all this stuff, one of the dominant characters, the personalities, is anxiety.
oh,
Anxiety controls
yeah,
everything. And since we're talking about obesity,
yeah,
I would say 98.9 people of people who fall back into obesity or, God forbid, get worse or get sick, or it's because of anxiety.
yeah.
So anxiety comes from many triggers: lack of sleep, chronic stress. You're probably popping pills to lose weight. You don't see the effects right away. By the way, some medications actually have all these chemicals and different synthetic sugars that increase the inflammation in your body. So they're going to get you
That's
fatter if
right.
you don't take care of yourself. So all
Right.
this stuff is happening. And the key to it, the big element and the big, you know, boogeyman is anxiety. And it's amazing how they put that movie out there in our face to let us know. Because if we're adults, we go watch it. I haven't watched it. I'm just reading and checking stuff. But I'm like, wow, anxiety is like
That's
literally the cause of everything.
well, see, that's why the high fives, right? That's number five, stress. Okay. So, and you said it earlier. You said, well, what happened in the last 2 years? Why it's really, really escalating in the last 2, 3 years is because of this whole chronic COVID thing. And we thought that, that it wasn't going to be a long term. It's affecting everybody long term. People's lives have been turned upside down. They're still trying to get their life back in order because of it. And then we've got this thing called long term COVID, which is still having havoc on people's lives. And people are still trying to understand what that means. But at the same time, it's rampant out there. Now they're telling us the truth about the vaccines. And you go, oh my God, I shouldn't take that. The stress. I tell people all the time, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high sugar, high obesity, and high stress is ruining our country. And
Mm.
yet, over 80% of people over 50 is going to die with one of those. And we got to have a solution, right? And that's why I'm writing this book. But the other thing that I wanted to say that what we're not addressing, what we're not addressing is that we think that metabolism is the answer to everything, right? But metabolism cannot be hyped up. Metabolism has to be homeostasis, right? And so what we do is we go running like crazy, taking these drugs, decreasing our sugar, and doing all these things, and we've got runners dropping dead. That's the shocking part. They're dropping dead, and you got to ask yourself why. It's because you can't shock the body like that, right? It's the body needs to have what's called regulation. You can't like the yo-yo. Okay, did I tell you why the yo-yo diet hurts you, right? You got to understand that when you yo-yo a lot, and some of the drugs will do that, it creates this unbalance. It creates heart disease. It creates, because, when you yo-yo, you got to remember the balance of all of these things go way down when you do the diet, right? If sugar levels go down, the triglycerides will go down a little bit, your blood pressure goes down, and all of these things and your nutrients go out. Then you cold turkey. Say, I'm done, lost my 30 pounds, I'm good now. Then you go back and eat the salt, the sugar, the toxins, all of them. What do you think you think your body can handle all that at once? It's a little stress. And people see it on their bodies. Like they'll see, oh, whoa, boy, my feet are swollen. Haven't been swollen like this in a while. And then your thighs get swollen and you could feel your heart rate. And all of that is just telling you that yo-yo dieting that you're doing is not good for you. It's never been good for anybody. The body does not like that. And so that's why you gain more weight, because it takes the extra fat that you've been eating and it saves it and stores it up because it knows that you're crazy and that you're going to go back on the next diet, the next holiday or the next birthday or the next wedding or the next whatever, you're going to go back on that diet. And it literally hurts people. They don't
You know, it's
understand.
amazing that you mentioned that. Sorry to jump in, but I was recently watching a video of Thomas DeLauer. He was talking about a study that came out in the Journal of Clinical Journal of Aging, something like that. And they were talking about how nutritionists and even personal trainers they suggest to their clients carb recycling. And this, though it might seem good in a certain way because you cause a certain level of stress to your body, is actually the worst thing you could do because, as you were mentioning, that shock to your metabolism is actually no good if you're not prepared, if you don't have a well balance. So
Right.
carb cycling in somebody who's like probably maybe having extremely active could probably work, but it's not a one size fits for all, and
That's
that
right.
has to be very, very, very taken care of, like with a magnifying glass looked at, because you can't just tell anybody, all right, just do 1 week carb, next week you drop carbs, next week you go again and cycle carbs. No, you can actually kill somebody like that.
I can tell you right now, they're all, when I go and I hear this, like I would, they're all, these diets should be medical, um, medical protocols for specifics. Like, okay, if I have a child that's 15 that's having seizures and all of that, I may recommend a carnivore diet because that can stop seizures, right? But I could not, in my wildest dream, recommend that for someone who has all of these highs, right? Because you got to understand, people are not at that level where you could say, well, go and do a carnivore. You think they're going to not put salt on it? You think that they're just going to eat good fats with the bad fat? Do you even think that they're going to always go out and get good organic meat? So you have all these people doing these things out there, and then they try it for a while, and then they go, I can't do this anymore. I'm really getting turned off to meat. I go, well, because your body's trying to tell you it's too much. It's too much, and you got to. And I've heard someone did it, and they got really a lot of in trouble with their body because they wasn't taking enzymes, they weren't exercising, and they were just like all of this meat. And you need to be properly educated and coached before you go on some of these diets. They all are creating a yo-yo situation in the body, and it's really, really hurting people. But we don't hear that. No one's talking about that. What we see is shameful, that we have to even see a 25-year-old kid that's a 300 pounds. You got to wonder, how does a 25-year-old get to be 300 pounds and no one's talking about it? Nobody's alarmed about it, because I'm alarmed when I see that. In fact, sometimes I lose sleep over it because I think that we're the system, we're failing these kids. And to me, that's painful.
And it's sad to see them at such a young age being like that. Sometimes they're yelling and they're screaming inside for help. But some of them, because in today's world, today's society, they don't want to be exposed. They don't want to say anything to anyone. They stay quiet, but they keep going, and they're staying the same way because they don't dare to talk to anyone. Second, they think that youth is going to last forever. And they think, well, I'm young. I can get over this, because I'm in my mid-20s or early 20s. So down the road, I'll fix it. That's the worst thought anyone could have. Down the road, you don't have the same activity. Your body's not going to function the same. Your metabolism slows. Your body doesn't react the same. You can't burn fat the same. So, but they say, right, you have to live it and to experience it and then learn by your own mistakes. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish people can actually say, see, like, let's say my generation, like Gen Xers, we were nosy as heck. We would talk with the baby boomers. We would talk with the older people because we wanted to learn, and we were always asking questions. And we would, like, my biggest thing is, at least in my generation, that I noticed that we don't see much now. A lot of us, when we were kids, we would sit and listen to the elders because that was wisdom coming. Like, you're giving me wisdom experience. I'm listening to you. We don't see that anymore.
No, we
So
don't
they
see
see
that.
it as the older. They see us like even me. They see me as in like I'm a freaking dinosaur. Like I don't have anything to educate them on. Imagine that. So it's kind of sad.
It is sad. I remember
So
my grandmother. I would always listen to my grandmother, right? And my grandmother was practicing mono foods and intermittent fasting, and she died at 100. People didn't even know what that was, and she was practicing it because it just made sense for her, right? And I specifically remember my grandmother would always come out, and she would have like a tiny little bowl like this, and she would do it like several times a day, 4 times, 5 times, and I would say, she would give it to me, here, baby, here's some collard greens for you. And I look and I'm like, I'm in college, right? I'm looking like, where's the meat and the potatoes and all that stuff, right? Just a bowl of collard greens. Then 2-3 hours later, she come out with another vegetable. Now, these are things that she would go out in her garden and cook it fresh just for me, but just a little bowl every couple hours. And then later on, I realized that that's mono foods, mono feeding. It was fresh, it was organic, and it was great. And my body had time to metabolize it, right? And so today, okay, so this is what happened. This started obesity, I believe. The food pyramid. I have problems with the food pyramid. One day they're gonna change that food. I don't know if they taught it wrong. I don't know what happened, but that food pyramid changed a lot of things. So the food pyramid was completely opposite of mono foods. It was like one big plate. You just slice it up the plate, right? Here's some vegetables, here's some potatoes, here's some bread, here's some meat, and here's a little piece of fruit over here and a big glass of milk. Now that hurt a lot of people because they think that they got to eat like that all the time. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't, the people don't realize that, it's really not about all that food. It's about the density of the food and the concentration of the food and the organic of the food and being able to process it and digest it. And that's literally what it's about. And so, I tell people all the time, this other book that I'm writing that because we're creating this whole detox thing online, I totally believe that detox is one of the ways to help obesity, but not the way most people do it out there in the world. I started something that was very nutrient dense, and that's why I always say every 2 hours, maximum nutrition and small dosages. And when you do that for 21 days, you're not starving the body. Less calories, but the nutrients is so up there that it allows you to release the toxins from the body while the nutrients is taking care of you at the cellular level. And man, that's when we discovered not just people were losing weight like crazy, but their skin looked better, their hair looks better, their eyes were brighter, their blood pressure went down, their cholesterol went down. You would think that these doctors would like be knocking down my doors. Just a few of them sneaked in during that year. They were sneaking in. They would not go back and tell their colleagues. But yet they see all these people across the country was losing a lot of weight, but you don't transition back to the way you used to be. I teach people how to be what's called a lifestyle maintenance. And lifestyle maintenance is the program that you live forever. That's your lifestyle diet. It's full of nutrients still. It's based off of the detox. And I think a lot of times, when I tell people, don't open up a can, don't open up a bag, don't open up a bottle, that try as much as possible to stay close to nature. I think the new class of young people like looking at me like, how are we going to do that when I can go right down the street and get some McDonald's, or I can go right down the street and get, a burrito, or right down the street? It's just that we were set up to fail. That's why obesity is growing so rapidly, is because it's in our face all day long.
And the marketing is just so aggressive with the food industry giving us fake food. Let's just say it as it is. But because they market so aggressive, TV ads, sponsors on social media, you go on YouTube, everywhere you're gonna be smacked left and right with these ads, articles, and all this stuff that's coming out. Because now, let's say less people watch TV. Let's just say I'm one, but I don't know if the number is real. But let's just say less people watch TV, but more people, although they sleep in their bed, they live in their phone. So you're getting smacked left and right, phone, social media. You got to add, hey, all these fast foods coming up, all this fake food. That right. They tried it many times. Like there was this guy who actually saved a burger for about 10 years or 15 years, and it was intact.
I know.
Intact. It never broke. So that shows a lot. And all we're doing is fall into the trap of going and eat junk food. And it's sad to say. But I know you have something that we're going to be sharing right now. But what can we do? We'll share about that. What are some things we can do right now to start helping out the best we can to decrease, to kind of like bring it down, this obesity situation from destroying us?
I think that if we don't do something really quick and seriously do it, I think we're going to lose our kids at an early age, because we're showing them that we don't care, right? We're showing them that it's okay. I mean, I see some beautiful women and I just can't believe, how beautiful they are with these big, huge thighs and big, huge butts and all of that. And they flaunt it and they think it's just great, right? So that's what we're showing them, because we're not showing them anything else, right? So it's almost like, okay, it must be okay. No one's talking about it. But I think that we have to do something serious. We have to help these stores close down by telling people don't go to these stores and buy all this junk food. We got to start practicing teaching teachers, that they have to bring healthier snacks. If they don't bring healthier snacks, then the mom should just not send any at all. And the schools have to change. But for us, I think right now, because we get it, and for all of us online right now, our community, I think we're doing the right thing. We gotta do the detox. It's just we can't escape it without doing the detox. It's called unloading toxins. I was just underestimating when I say they throw 1,000 toxins in our food supply. I don't know what the real number is, but if it was 1,000 8-9 years ago, I cannot imagine that it's less. So with that, we have to stop the bottles, and we got to make sure that we drink good water, because the water is the foundation. And I think a lot of us don't understand that those canned juices and stuff like that. Like I have a friend that every time I see her, she's got that, I forgot what that Red Bull, I think, Red Bullet or something. And so, and I hate to tell her what the toxins that's in that, but I told her a couple of times, but she's like, I need the energy. So I think what we got to stop that. If it's not real food and if it doesn't come out of the garden, we just can't do it. But some of the things that we have to start doing besides, putting in the small dosages all day is we believe in the red, green, and yellow, right? Why did I say red, green, and yellow? First of all, the red is an antioxidant, so it's not like full of sugar. All right, Ria Vita, there's, the red drinks. And then the yellow is an immune booster. Our body wants that immune booster because that immune booster does a lot for us. And the green, because another thing that causes obesity, which I didn't talk about, is bad food causes acid. If a person's body is consistently acid, that also increases obesity. So the green drinks helps to alkaline the body. And these are not hard things that I'm telling us to do, right? The other thing is that somebody wanted to say, I think she was like almost 400 pounds, but she lost like about 100 pounds and she still couldn't walk. So she wanted to know what she could do to bring in good oxygenation and exercise because she couldn't walk. She needed about another 100 pounds more before she was able to exercise. And I says, people underestimate the value of dry skin brushing, which opens up your vascular flow. People underestimate breath work, the art of breathing. And we'll have like sessions on each and every one of these, because for me to even tell you how to do breath work would take a whole half hour. But people got to understand that these are things that you can do. You don't have to say, I can't walk. You don't have to sit, like while I'm sitting in this chair, I could have a dry brush and I could just be doing this, but people will think I'm weird, but I'm telling you, I could do it, right? I think the other thing that we have to do a lot of besides that is buy things that we can do at home, like OSSI machines and Chi machines. These are things that are out there. No one's talking about this. Like you can get up and do an OSSI for like 10 freaking minutes. And it's like you ran a marathon, right? And in the Chi machine, you can put a padding on your floor, and you chi like a fish, the chi fish. That's a lot of calories. Not only is it calories that you laying there on the floor, you can watch TV. At the same time, you could be expending calories and you're not hurting yourself because you're laying down. So there's no excuse now. I would say many years ago that there could have been an excuse because these things weren't available to us. But the thing that I like the best that we should do is sauna baths. I love sauna baths. I don't understand why everybody's not talking about sauna baths. I'll give a whole class on that too, because sauna baths allows you to open up your pores, help your vascular flow, help to increase that nitric oxide that I was talking about, right? And at the same time, it helps you sweat some of those toxins out. So these are all these good things that we can do besides the fact of saying, well, I don't know what else to do. Maybe I should take some fat burners, or maybe I should do some shots, or, someone came from California. She flew in from California. She loved Martha's Vineyard. She said she comes every year. She says, but I heard you had mixed shots. I said, you're right in California where mixed shots are everywhere. And I said, well, I don't have mixed shots here, but you're only here for a few days. I can get you mixed shots, but I can tell you right now, they don't work. It's a shot, fat burning shot. That's another popular one that's out there. So, until we can get a handle on trying to get our youngsters to put in the red, green, and yellow and the maximum nutrition all day, they won't be hungry. It's impossible to be hungry, but you can also mix the intermittent fasting. People make it seem like intermittent fasting is a big deal. We're going to do a class on that too, because we really need to do on the class, because it is not a big deal. I go to bed, really late, and I wake up really late. And when I wake up, I got like a few hours of all these things to do. You think I just ate in the middle of the night? Is intermittent fasting. I didn't eat like it's been like 12 to 18 hours. I didn't eat anything. People go, is that easy? I go, yeah, people do that all the time. Why are we having big, huge, why are we making it seem like it's a big deal? That should be something natural that we do. That's called resting our gut, resting our system so that our probiotics and our enzymes can work to process the food down to the cellular space so that we can get energy from our food. A lot of us are tired. The reason we're tired is we have no energy because our food doesn't reach our cellular space because it's junk.
And a little side note, on intermittent fasting, you can actually prep your body. I've actually done this and it's helped. You can take magnesium citrate at night before sleeping. It's going to help your body, your liver, to produce something called glutathione, and it's going to cut your hunger. So you're kind of cheating, but in a good way. So
yeah, but we all need magnesium. So thank you. That's something that we need. When I see blood work, we're low in all these things. I can name all these things that we're low in, not to scare everybody, but you guys got to get in blood work with integrative medical doctors, because integrative doctors, what we do is, okay, we know that we got to test all those other things that everybody tests. But in addition to that, we deep dive into your nutritional deficiencies, your inflammatory markers. We even look at your blood to see if your blood's thin or if your blood's thick or if you're going to have a heart attack in 5 years. You got to know all these things while you're young. You can't have a heart attack and a stroke and then go and get integrated. Well, you can, but it's kind of a little too late. So, I invite people to do those things early.
And now we have all the science from 2019 up. We have all this called biomapping and biotracking. It helps a lot to, kind of like, they can't predict a date, but they know, like, okay, this person, if you continue like this, you're going to get a heart attack. You're going to get a stroke, or you're about to, become diabetic. They let them know. So if the doctor cares, but they have to care.
No, they have to care, but they also got to know. Like, everybody knows about vitamin D now. Okay, great. We're low in vitamin D, but that's not the only thing we're low in. So what are they going to do? Wait 3 more years and say, well, we're low in B complex. Then they're going to wait 3 more years and say we're low in magnesium. We're low, guys, in all these things.
They just don't want to say it, but we're low. And not only that, it's for them to understand, okay, because you're low, I have to prescribe you a B complex. But it has to be the one I give you. Don't go get anything out there. I have to prescribe you the ones, because pharmaceutical needs to eat,
Right. That's right. You said it, not me.
So I know we just started now, and I just joined. I actually just joined thanks to Claudia. She told me about this, but I'm digging into it, and I'm looking to get started. Hopefully, I'll get through the longevity detox. That's actually going to help you not just eliminate the toxins, but look and feel younger. So I'm actually going to look into that. If anybody's interested, there's a Facebook group. I'll be glad to share it with you guys. We're going to actually share it. I don't know if anybody has the link in here, but it's a private group. You can still find it, but you can actually go in there and, let them know who invited you. There's some questions there but it's really interesting. And I think it's the best timing, because we're in a time where, although on one side, a lot of these chronic illness and all this stuff are coming out, we're also in an age where longevity has become like the thing, like the new sexy longevity. And we need to take advantage of this, because I want to be able to be 80 years old and still chase my grandson and play with him. So
I think a lot of it is, I love that word, because we practice, we've been practicing longevity at the retreat for many years, right? But we have that type of niche, that clientele that comes in, right? But I love it when a young person like 35, 40 says, I want to do your longevity protocol. Where did you get that from? What YouTube are you watching? I think it's adorable, but I think that it's never too young to start your longevity program. I really do.
That's great. That's great. And actually, just as a little extra on another side note, in today's world, millennials and Gen Zs are more concerned about aging, not just because they're going to get old, because they fear being frail. This is an article that recently came out.
They should fear being frail. I can tell you some stories that will break your heart about the elderly today. They're called our throwaway population. And these are the people that built our country, right? But yet we don't seem to have the same principles how to help our elderly that, my generation of age, we still got it. But our young generation of age they're just really all about themselves. And so we're finding that the older population that are frail and they're being left alone and thrown into assisted living. And that, I think, to me, that we're losing our culture. We're losing our compassion for our elderly because they are the reasons why we are the way we are today. And they teach us ethics, they teach us wisdom and all of that. And we need to protect that. But that's a whole nother subject. There's a whole nother class we'll do on that, on how to help them.
Definitely. So before we close up, we're about to be, closing up to the hour. So what would be your words of wisdom tonight before we close to create not just awareness, but actually give people a call to action on how can we begin to address this, not just in our family, close but relatives and everyone, but how we can actually approach the world that is going downhill in obesity?
I think the biggest thing we can do, and I talk to Siobhan about it a lot, is we got to start showing that we can that this is not hard to grow our own vegetables. Even if you just start with something. I think the world needs to all hold hands and go around the country and sing these songs about saving our planet and just doing it by growing our own vegetables. Because while you and I are on this class right now, I can tell you right now, there's something starting to happen to our farms. Say no more, but I gotta be careful what I say. And that brings me to another subject that we have to talk about one day. There is nothing wrong with taking a big window that you have in your house and start somewhere, because you're going to find that these grocery stores that you're going to be going into, they're going to be lacking in a lot of vegetables. So that's one thing. But I think that we all need to make a list, put it on our refrigerator, and just make a list of everything that's healthy that's going in our body every single day. And when you do that and it's in your face, you have to say to ourselves, I'm eating this because I need to release toxins every day. You can every day. It's not just during the 21 days that we're going to do the diet longevity detox program, right? It has a lot to do with our health and building up the structure in our body. A lot of people just think that is all about losing weight, but that's just one side effect from this program. But we're building a stronger, healthier body. And I believe that you got to start by putting a list on your refrigerator and start listing all these good things, 10 things on your refrigerator. How am I going to make a better body today, starting today? And I already told you some things. Don't open up those things, bag, bit, can, bottle. Go out and start growing your own fresh vegetables. If not, then you're going to have to go to the farmer's market and get these fresh vegetables. And you got to stop the toxins, and you got to learn how to breathe. And you also got to learn how to exercise in your own home. Some of you can't go out, so you have to do that in your own home. And I think that we can learn the great spices that we can put in our food to make us have a natural fat burn. We can talk about that in another, because that's a great session that I want to talk about, how to burn fat on our own without the drugs. Okay.
That's a good one. Really good.
Well, our ancestors did it. My aunt was like 100 and something. She was still climbing a tree. She had muscles. She didn't even know what a gym was. She had no clue what a gym was, all right? But she had muscles and she could climb a tree. So I think that when we think about these kinds of things and we live in this world today, there's things out there for us. I mentioned them earlier. Go grab one. Go get a chi machine. Get a rebounder. Get a mousy machine. Get a dry brush.
Amazing, amazing. Definitely, there's so much to dig into this, and it's been an amazing night. This discussion has been one of the most amazing ones lately, and these past weeks and months, I'd say, because there's so much to keep picking your brains. We could go down many rabbit holes, and I always love it because I can get part of your wisdom. I can see your honest desire to really want it to make it a difference and make this impact that you're already doing. You already caused a wave. You hit it so hard, you caused a wave that it's gonna continue. These ripples are going to continue touching people's lives and all over the world. And I'm just grateful. I'm just honored to be here and be the one, spending the time with you. I know there's many people who can be hosting this. There's many talents in our communities. So when they ask me to be, I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, yes, like, let's go. So I'm honored. And I thank God that this time I'm able to be alive to enjoy this, to learn from you, and to see your heart, that desire that just sprouts. I can see it from you. So thank you. Thank you for pouring out your wisdom, your knowledge, your heart, for putting aside any credential that you might have. That's great. That's amen. But your heart, your desire to help us and help the world, this generation, a sick generation, to actually heal, that's That's remarkable. That right there is going to be the legacy you leave. Like I always say, when God calls you, your voice, your smile, your wisdom is going to be remembered forever in the hearts of so many people because of the impact you have caused. So thank you, thank you,
Well,
thank you so much.
thank you so much, Omar. You bring the best out in me. So thank you.
If anybody wants to connect with her, Dr. Roni DeLuz on all social media platforms, that's her handle. She's really willing to always answer her questions. She's just full of love. She's just amazing. And let's give her a big round of applause. Light up that screen with heart, with fire emojis, heart emojis. Let's give her some love. And if you're on here for the first time, you're probably looking for a way to either get your garden grown or start doing your things on the right, but you feel like financially challenged, you may want to stay for the next meeting because we're going to talk to you about how to actually dominate and make money in such a crazy time that we live in. But let's give some love to Dr. Roni. She's amazing. That smile will be remembered forever. Remember, your body's the only place you will spend the rest of your life. You got to give it the best now so it can give you the best tomorrow. God bless you all. Have an amazing one. And I hope to see everyone the next one. Open up the mics.
Thank you, Rockstar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.